Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Happy Friday and welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on WKYC. We're here for 30 minutes to talk about Cleveland sports. I'm Jay Crawford. We're going to tell you why there is something going on right now that's happened only once in the history of Cleveland professional sports. Bull.
I'm Adam the Bull, and Daniel Jones versus Deshaun Watson this week. Is it clear who the better quarterback is? G,
I'm the urban cowboy, and I'm going to tell you why. Turnovers is all about luck, my man, and you can't count on that. Jason?
I'm Jason Lloyd. Prewritten headlines. What's going to happen on Sunday? We're going to tell you before it happens. Mikey?
We've had Coach Tyvis on the show, and he's back today, but we have a new addition, former NFL Super Bowl winning quarterback Shaun King is going to join us to break down a little bit of Deshaun Watson's film against the Jaguars. Very excited for you guys to see what Shaun had to say about one play in particular that we totally missed live.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. I think that's going to be the segment that makes every Browns fan smarter. We're taking you inside the X's and O's, and we're doing it with two very good guys that know what they're talking about. All right, it's funny that you said that, Bull, because that's where we're going to start about, are we sure that Deshaun Watson is going to be the better quarterback on the field Sunday? Normally, I think we would all say, yeah, we've got the edge. Daniel Jones hasn't played well, but are you sure that Deshaun Watson will outplay Daniel Jones Sunday?
I'm not sure, but I feel pretty good about it.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I feel pretty good about it more because of the Browns' defense than I do about Deshaun Watson. I do think Deshaun Watson is better than Daniel Jones, but the biggest difference is the Browns' defense. Daniel Jones has been terrible the last 2 years, and the Browns' defense is way better than the Giants' defense. And because of that, I think the Browns will get better quarterback play than the Giants.
I'm not going to put a large band on it, but I would expect that Deshaun could outplay Daniel Jones. I don't think anything's definitive in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's a week-to-week league more than any sport there is, but I'm kind of with Bull. The Browns' defense is so good. They were great last week even on the road, but typically at home they play extremely well. So, I mean, I would have faith that Deshaun could outplay Daniel Jones, but, I mean, Daniel Jones is throwing for more yards than Deshaun has to this point in the season. So, I don't think anything's a slam dunk definitive.
Listen, man, you're not going to get no guarantees in the league. The Giants is a good team. I'm doing my coach speak. They got, well coached over there, and I think the guys are going to come out and fight hard. But who cares about all that, man? Listen, Deshaun Watson this week, this is the first week, everybody, the detractors, the people that like him, the people that put the cape on for him, everybody in Cleveland this week is going to be able to say after this game, Deshaun played good. I can't even hate. Deshaun played good. I think you're building to something. He played better last week. He's at home this week. It's against the Giants. And if he can come out and do some of the same things he did against the Jaguars and hit a couple deep passes, use his legs, be smart, no turnovers, I think Deshaun Watson continues to build that picture that says, hey, I might not be as washed as you think I am, Jay.
See, the super there on the screen says definitive advantage. I would say, yeah, he's got a definitive advantage. The way the question was posed to us last night for today's show was, are you 100% positive Cleveland has a definitive advantage at quarterback? And I'm not 100% positive of anything. We say that in the NFL, nothing is certain. The NFL is upside down right now when it comes to quarterbacks. If you would have thought for 1 second that the top four quarterbacks in terms of statistics would be Gardner Minshew, Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr, and Sam Darnold, you would have been called crazy by 100 out of 100 NFL fans. But that's the reality right now. They're doing better than Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, and it's really crazy. So I can't say that, yeah, Deshaun's going to play better, but they do have a definitive edge coming into the game. And for his sake, what you said needs to be true. Because this is a Giants team that everyone has, we've already dug the hole. All we got to do is kick the body into it. And that's always scary. Usually in the NFL, when that happens, everybody wakes up the next morning and looks at the score and says, what just happened?
Yeah.
So, proceed with caution when you go down that road that, oh, yeah, this is going to be an easy W and Deshaun's going to play great.
No, we're not taking that. Like, no, we locked in. It's week to week, like Jason said. Listen, if they come out here against the Giants, they can get smoked just like anybody else could. I just saw the Ravens go beat the Raiders, or Raiders beat the Ravens in their house.
Yep.
All right, you said in the open that turnovers in the NFL, there's a lot of luck involved. So far, the Browns haven't been on the right side of that luck. Kind of hard to believe that an offense last year that was extremely opportunistic and forced turnovers is sitting at 0 turnovers through 2 games in the NFL this season. Is it time that the Browns' turnover luck flips?
You can't call that out. I mean,
you can't predict it.
You can't predict it. Like, you think about it. Sometimes you get 3 and outs. Do you want 3 and outs or turnovers? Sometimes 3 and outs account as just as good as turnovers. Last week, they had, in my opinion, I know the NFL doesn't count it, they had a huge turnover where you got a safety, you got the points on the board, plus you got the ball kicked back to you. So, they've had some opportunities. I think Denzel Ward has had his hands on a few footballs where he dropped it. Martin Emerson last week was this close for picking it off. And Myles Garrett has 2 strip sacks, but we didn't recover it. So the goal in defense is just to be around the football. Sooner or later, they're going to have to make some of those plays because, trust me, those plays, turnovers are game-changing. So, they're preaching to them, hey, guys, we got to make those plays. We got to get it done, bull.
There's been the Browns have forced fumbles. They've had their hands on interceptions. A lot of turnovers is luck, right? Defensive players play defense because they don't have great hands a lot of times. And so you don't always catch the ball when you have an opportunity. They are due for some good luck, especially against the Giants team that's not particularly good on offense. It's just so hard to predict. It doesn't matter. One team could force 5 turnovers one week, and then they're playing a terrible team the next week, and you expect them to do it again, and they don't. Yeah. Happens all the time.
This defense is good enough. You feel like there's a 3 turnover week coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
And against a team like this, maybe it is this week. Another thing that I think should count as a turnover and doesn't is a 4th down stop. It's the same thing as a turnover.
I do too.
So when you factor in, I don't know if the Giants are going to be going for it on many 4th downs on Sunday. Obviously, down and distance factors into that. But when you think about how stout this Browns defense is, I like their odds in any 4th down situations. You talked about the safety. That should count as a turnover. It's points on the ball. Miles getting strip sacks. The ball has been on the ground. They just haven't fallen on it. There's a little bit of fluke to that. Are the Browns going to lead the league in turnovers this year? I don't know. But I do think that there is a week coming where they're going to have a 3 or 4 type of turnover game. And this very well may be that week.
A flip of a coin is luck.
Yeah.
It's a statistical draw, 50-50. Then the more you do it, the more likely you are to be to that average. I do believe that there is skill involved in turnovers. Stripping the ball, that's a skill. The bounce of that ball was luck. Mm-hmm. Having a ball in your hands, that's skill. That it's also a lack of skill that you couldn't hold on to it. Eventually, the law of averages works its way back to the mean. And the mean here is that the Browns average turning the ball over more than forcing turnovers on defense more than not. So they're going to get a turnover on Sunday. And they might get multiple turnovers on Sunday. But again, it's hard to predict something that's strictly luck-based. But I think with turnovers, there is skill to it. And I think our guy, 95, is probably going to be in the middle of one, whether he strips it and recovers it or strips it and someone else falls on it. But I do think the Browns will get turnovers on defense. Hopefully they can avoid turnovers on the offensive side. All right, I said to start the show that there is something happening this year that hasn't happened only one time in the history of Cleveland sports, and here's what that is. With the Guardians punching their playoff ticket yesterday, that means that within a 12-month span, the Browns, the Cavs, and the Guardians will all play in the postseason. That's only happened one other time. That was in 1995. Are we taking this time in Cleveland sports for granted? Or does all of that mean nothing if they don't cash it in with a ring?
No, I do think it's something to cherish because it doesn't happen very often, particularly in a town like this. Baseball payrolls matter, and obviously we know where the Guardians spend on that. Now, there are a lot of small market teams that win, but the point is, for all 3 teams to be good at the same time is very rare. And the graphic that they had up earlier is a big reason why. How many times can you point to all three teams and have a superstar on each team, a bona fide, legitimate superstar on each team? Myles Garrett is the best at what he does in the NFL. Jose Ramirez is in the MVP conversation every single year. Donovan Mitchell, probably not a top 5, 7, 8 player. He's a top 15 player, 15 to 20 player. To have an elite playmaker on every team is a big reason why. And that has, I don't know if that's ever happened in Cleveland, to where you have three superstars, one on each team at the top of their game all at the same time.
Yeah, I can't remember a time.
Yeah.
I mean, 95, obviously the Indians were terrific.
Right.
The Browns, I don't know
in
if they had a
16,
superstar.
when the Browns or when the Cavs and the Indians were doing their thing,
The Browns were a
the Browns
disaster.
weren't winning a game.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's also stability, right? There's reason to believe that all these teams will be good for at least a few years. Now, things change in a hurry, so who knows?
Sure.
And all three are legit contenders. I would argue the Cavs are least likely to win a championship, but I know, Jason, you've said, hey, I think they can win a championship,
It's a new
especially as
NBA.
the NBA comes more wide open. And the fact that baseball and now, to some degree, the NBA are more wide open leaves the possibility. We know the Browns have one of, or at least we think the Browns have one of, if not the best defense in the league. So all three teams have a good shot, not only to, they've all made the playoffs this year, not only to have success in the playoffs going forward, but do it for a number of years, which is a big deal.
There's been years where we've just been, both have been just trash. Like, think about going back to like 2010 or something, man. Like, after LeBron left, it was terrible. The Browns were like garbage. I mean, we're drafting players, like we had quarterbacks that was high school kids. It was nasty work all over. And there was times where I couldn't even find a game on TV where no Cleveland team was on a national televised game. It was just like they were put into some dark zone void where they forgot about you. Now, I think we're living in a sort of a renaissance time where each team is good. There's good ball players. There's name brand recognition, and all of them are advancing and going to the playoffs. So I think it is something that we kind of understated.
Yeah, and I don't think we shouldn't take it for granted. Ultimately, yes, if you don't win a championship, there's some level of disappointment in the season.
Yeah.
I think with the Guardians in particular, this was so unexpected that we've enjoyed the ride, but expectations change. If they lose it in their first series, everybody's going to be angry again.
I think sports fans live in the moment, and it's hard to live in a collective 12-month moment.
Sure.
Like, I bet most Cleveland sports fans, when they heard that just now, probably had to stop and go, wow, that's true, we have.
Yeah.
The Cavs, the Browns, and the Guardians are going to play playoff games within a 12-month span. But I don't think any of us are running around saying, we've conquered it all, we're kings of the world.
Sure, no.
And so ultimately, you need the cherry on top. You've got a really nice cake right now, but somebody's got to close the deal with a championship.
Especially since it's been, the 50s for the
40s.
40s.
76 years.
40s for the Guardians and neverness for the Browns. Like, that's the thing that hangs over all our heads.
But you have legitimate reason to look forward to every season.
Yeah.
And that's encouraging. That doesn't happen very
That
often.
we can honestly say is a very rare occurrence in Cleveland. Now, obviously, 2016 was a banner year. The Guardians came within a run of winning a World Series, which I think the world would have stopped spinning if the Cavs and the Guardians had won championships for the city of Cleveland, the Indians, in a span of 4 months.
We'd have went crazy.
National media wouldn't know what to do with themselves. Wait, we got to go to Cleveland again for a parade? What's going on? But I do really think I'm more excited now that I look at the Guardians and I see the way they're constructed, and I never would have looked at this roster and said, yeah, they can do it. But this is a legitimate World Series contender.
Absolutely.
Particularly when you look at how the Rangers got things done last year, the Braves a couple of years ago. This could end with a parade down East 9th, which blows my mind. But if you are watching us and you are hearing this, don't take it for granted. Don't, because it's here now. But that, like you said, Bull, there's no guarantee that this is going to stay long term. And so enjoy it while you can.
Well, I think about when I moved here in 2011, the Guardians had gotten off to a good start that season, but then completely cratered, and they were terrible. The Browns were terrible.
Yeah.
The Cavs were terrible. All three teams were
and you
terrible.
ask yourself, what have I done?
Yeah.
It's worked out okay.
Yeah.
Mike wants to make a point.
I had more of a question for you guys. Of the 3 teams right now, who would you be least surprised if they were to end the? It's only a couple of years, less than a decade championship drought, but
It's easy.
The Guardians.
Guardians.
Yeah, the Guardians.
It's the
despite
Guardians.
the fact that they've
Are you
overcome
asking who's
every-
most likely to win?
Yeah, it's the Guardians.
Okay.
You
I
really
was
think it's the
confused.
Guardians?
He asked
Yeah.
it in reverse. He said, "Who
Yeah.
would you be least likely to see
Yeah,
win?"
I think it's the Guardians.
Yeah, it's the
Baseball,
Guardians.
he just said it. The Rangers, like, they won it last year, and some would argue that the Rangers aren't even as talented as the Guardians this year. So, you know.
Well, no, I mean they
I don't
had
know about
The
that.
Rangers peaked
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
right time. They
Yeah,
had a
yeah.
great team. They didn't lose a road game in the playoffs.
and they had great
It still
starting
blows my
pitching
mind.
last year. All those guys just got hurt this
They
year.
did.
But
Yeah.
you said year to year.
Yeah.
It's year to year in baseball.
Our starting pitchers got hurt too and underperformed, and here we are.
Yeah.
How they've stitched together this pitching staff, I got to
It's
tell you,
unbelievable.
if they did give a front office award in Major League Baseball, it's
They
a
should
slam
name it.
dunk. They should name it the
The
Guardian
Cleveland
Award.
Guardians Award.
Because it really is. It's mind blowing
Yeah.
what they have done with the amount of dollars they have.
Yeah.
They have
And if
all
only they had
overachieved.
spent a little more money.
I do too. Now, if they had an owner award, we wouldn't
Yeah.
be in the running.
Yeah.
But in terms of front office and what they do with what they have, nobody comes close. Not just in baseball, I would argue in sports.
2 minutes on the Guardians real quick. They clinched yesterday. Sets them up now to potentially clinch the division. Could it be as early as tonight?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow
It's
as
3
division
is the
winners.
number.
We talked about it in the YouTube version of Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, which, by the way, Monday through Friday, 11 to 1 a.m. to p.m. on YouTube. How surprised are you guys that this season has unfolded the way it did? We got 2 minutes around the horn. Do you ever foresee this being the eventual outcome in at least the regular season for the Guards?
Not being in contention for the one. I'm not blown away that they made the playoffs. I'm blown away that they are absolutely in contention for the overall 1 seed.
But if we would have told you Shane Bieber got hurt in the first week and they made the playoffs, you wouldn't have believed that. Nobody
No,
would have had that.
Probably not, Bull.
So I mean,
Probably not.
I remember in that prediction that we played in the beginning of the show before, I said they'll win between 75 and 85 games, and that's what I thought. And considering how much of a mess the starting rotation's been, it's remarkable. There's no way anybody could have predicted that they'd win 90-plus games and how they did it.
Bull, to your point, when Bieber went out,
Yeah.
5th game of the year, whatever it was, I literally got a pit feeling in my stomach, and I literally verbalized,
Yeah.
our season's over.
Right.
Our season is over in the second week, and it's anything
Yeah.
but over.
I would have never thought any of them. Playoffs, division, wild card, none of the above letter D. And they came out and did what they needed to do.
I thought wild card was possible. I never thought
Even
we could
after
say,
Bieber, though?
Well, preseason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Preseason.
Yeah.
I thought
Right, but
wild
there's no
card.
way you thought they were going to win 90-plus games. Yeah.
No, not it, when
Yeah.
and we haven't even talked Tristan McKenzie, Gavin
Yeah.
Williams, all these guys you were counting on.
Yeah.
Van Allen. Yeah.
It looked like a 70-win team, and it's going to be a 90-win
It
team.
is amazing the way they put this pitching staff together. All right, we're taking a break. Stay with us. On the other side, I promise you, you will be made smarter. Tyvis and Shaun King with some great tape breakdown when the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show comes right back. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on WKYC. We went into the lab after week 2 of the NFL season. Tyvis Powell and Shaun King with some excellent telestrator work.
Week 2, Tyvis, much better for this Browns defense than week 1, and 2 players in particular. JOK, Jordan Hicks, they're developing quite the chemistry early on for this new linebacker pairing.
Yeah, I mean, let's take a look at JOK. I mean, this is a guy that does just a really good job of seeing things. He knows where he wants to go. He gets skinny, and he makes plays. Eyes through the thighs. It's a perfect tackle. His instincts is out of this world. Look at this again. That tackle has no chance because he gets skinny, gets under it, and makes a great tackle. Now, let's go look at his running mate, Jordan Hicks. Jordan Hicks is another linebacker that we just got this year, and I was quite unsure what we were going to get from him. But this is a guy that's a missile. He sees what he wants to see. He believes it, and he goes. Again, we see number 74 again. He sees color, gets backdoors him, makes a great sack on Trevor Lawrence. These two guys bring a different element to this defense. We know we got the pass rush, but you add 2 linebackers that can get back there, man, this defense is very scary.
That's the defensive breakdown from Tyvis Powell. Now let's talk to Shaun King, former NFL quarterback, Super Bowl champ, on what he saw from Deshaun Watson against the Jaguars.
So look at where the center is and look at where Deshaun Watson is. His pocket integrity is perfect. He never gets outside of either A gap, which means the offensive line is taught to protect the quarterback, and the quarterback has to be at a particular spot. If you watch some of the young quarterbacks, they drift to their left, they drift to their right, wherever their eyes take them, their body goes with it. Very impressed here. If we can roll for about one more second here, look at the top of Deshaun's drop. Pass, stop it right there. He's still in the perfect position. His eyes are downfield. He's not anticipating the rush. He's anticipating throwing the ball. Watch when the instincts kick in. Let's start this thing again. I mean, there are very few guys who can, make a guy whiff, have the capacity to keep his eyes downfield, make an accurate throw. Listen, I know Deshaun's been injured. I know he hadn't necessarily done what expected so far, but the talent is there. He's getting better. The Jacksonville game was a big step in the right direction. And trust me, Cleveland, ain't a whole lot of guys playing football that can make this play.
That's it for the film breakdown segment on today's show. Jay, back to you.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. The Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is taking another break. When we come back, how does Sunday's game end up? We give you our pre-written headlines in the form of predictions. 2 minutes. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. It's time for our predictions. And I always wonder before we do these every week, will anyone have the guts to pick against the Browns? Gee, you're first, and I'm not banking on it.
Oh, no, come on, man. What are you talking about, man? Only you could prevent forest fires. Smokey the Bear. Listen, return of the Mac. And I'm not talking about Mark Morrison. I'm talking about Deshaun Watson. He's mindful. He's accurate. And he's consistent in the win over the Giants. See what I did with the acronym? See what I did right there? Schoolhouse Rock. Listen, you know what we're doing. Deshaun Watson gets it done.
You got a score for us?
This one is not even going to be close. I got him 27-10.
Oh, that's my exact number. I can't believe you
I was
just said
looking
that.
on your portfolio down there. Go ahead, Jason.
Well, I'm with you in spirit and in body. I do think for the first time this year, I do pick the Browns to win in a giant party.
Ooh, I like that.
Browns D closes the register on Danny Dimes and big home win. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I don't think the Giants are going to be able to move the ball against this Browns defense. I didn't really come up with a score, but give me something around 19-10.
Okay.
All right.
Everybody with a 10 for a loss.
Yeah, no.
19 such a weird number.
All right.
It is, but
Field
they're a weird
goals.
team.
Field goals.
4 field goals and a touchdown.
Yeah.
There you go with 19. I'm up. Let's go. Let's bring the headline up.
You don't remember what it was?
What's that?
You remember what it was? Bring the headline up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. Giant killers, question mark, because they didn't really kill them. The defense did. Browns run for 155 yards and 2 touchdowns to beat the Giants 17-6. I do not think the Giants will score a touchdown in this game. I wouldn't be shocked if Daniel Jones, who does not deserve a nickname, throws for under 100 yards. Browns will run the ball really well. Deshaun Watson will do enough, and the defense will play great in the Browns win.
You guys know I'm scared of my own shadow when it comes to sports. I am scared because, like I said earlier, whenever everybody's telling you that it's this is what's going to happen, sometimes we get a wrinkle. Not this time. Browns win 27-10. Here's my headline: Browns Bigfoot the Giants. 27-10 win as Watson takes another step.
Okay, I see what
So
you did with the
I'm not
steps
ready to say
and the
that
feet.
he's totally arrived, but I do think he's going to finally eclipse 200 yards passing. I think he's finally going to reconnect with his big target in Amari Cooper, and my hope is this will be one of those rare Sundays where we can actually take a phone call if we need to at 3:30 on a Sunday, or we can go to the bathroom in the fourth quarter without saying, what's going on out there? So my hope is we rubber stamp this and we get the victory to move to 2-1. Now for the only Giants fan on the panel.
Yeah.
Will it be unanimous?
Do we have a clean sweep?
Oh, yeah, it's a clean sweep. Cooper is Week 3's giant winner. Amari's bounce back in 3. Danny Dudd's interceptions leads to a double-digit win for Cleveland. You said he doesn't deserve a nickname, Bull. I think Danny Dudd is appropriate.
That
for
would
how
be
he
worthy.
plays.
Is that, by the way, does that say Director Steve on his 1,000th vacation?
I think it's 18,000.
18,000.
Yes, he has taken a lot of
I like
vacations.
that.
And he's not going to have any pictures from this vacation. I'm just still.
He did send us pictures yesterday,
I
though.
didn't get no pictures, or maybe
That
I wasn't on the
Cruz,
phone.
right?
Yeah, it was in the
Is that
group
where he
chat.
is?
He's in Aruba or the Bahamas.
Oh,
on a
I've
cruise.
done that one. That's a good one. The ABC cruise. That's fun, man. Yeah, it's risky planning a cruise in October.
Yep.
or September.
Director Steve likes to live on the edge.
He's
We all
living
know
on the
that.
edge with
It's hurricane
that.
season.
Does a
Living
good
on
time,
the edge.
You get him cheap,
is
but
it-
there it comes with a lot of risk.
does a good time 3 count as a cruise?
We'll see you next time.
The good time 3.
Shout out to them, man.
A 3 hour.